Episode number 14 of Making the Case. 15 things you need to know about men. Let's get it. Hey, welcome once again to Making the Case, man. For all my returning folks, all my new viewers, hey, glad to have you here, man. I'm Dr. Jacob Isom, educator, author, speaker, entrepreneur. Back at you with another episode of Making the Case. We are at episode 14. So we trucking along. All right. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We got more of a list than a quote unquote a case that I will make. But nonetheless, it's good information for you. All right. Once again, it's always research based. All right. For those that are new to the channel, Making the Case is where I research and I do my digging on different topics and subjects that I make my case on, whether yay or nay. All right. But as I mentioned, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We got two channel norms. One, we attack points and not people. Two, we don't do all the cussing and derogatory remarks. We like to keep it professional over here. All right. So let me get into my opening statement. And yes, there is an opening statement. So I want to actually do a list, well, the top 10 things that you should know about men. But as I started doing a little digging and scouring the internet and articles and things of that nature, man, it was just 5 more that was just so good that I just had to include it, right? So my list came out to be 15 things because, of course, this is most so geared towards women because it is of my belief that women really don't understand men, and it's certain things that they need to know about men moving forward. Now, will they always take heed to that and listen and keep in mind that when they dealing with a man, this is what a man is about? Who knows, right? But it's still good to have the information out there, right? And so, fellas, you're gonna know a lot of these things because you're a man, right? And for my young fellas, maybe you might not understand some of these things that impact you, or you may have not grown into your full man self when it comes to maturity and patience and competence and things of that nature, right? So this list would benefit you whether you're a male or a female, and hopefully I hope that you gain some perspective from this list. All right. So without further ado, let's get to the top 15 things you need to know about me. All right. So let's get into the top 15 things you need to know about men. Now, I will say that this list is in no type of order. I didn't rank it from like least to most favorite or anything like that. I just compiled a list of 15 things that I feel like not only women should know, but men should also pay attention about who they are, right? Once again, of course, a lot of this is biological, social as well, but a lot of this is just biological, right? But there's also some social things, right? Cultural things. So let's get into the list real quick. All right. All right. 15 things you need to know about men. Here we go. First thing is, men are born to be problem solvers, right? So I know a lot of times women complain about us every time they talk to us. They feel like that we're always trying to solve something. Well, we're naturally born problem solvers, right? We want to solve the problem. We want to make sure that things get resolved, right? Because we don't like things lingering. Okay. So we have to come up with a solution. That's just in our nature. So ladies, if you're getting frustrated with us because you just want to talk and you want us to listen, it's going to be hard for us. All right. Because we're just naturally born problem solvers. All right. Number two, men pride themselves on loving and pleasing their partner and taking care of their kids. Okay. We are protectors, we are providers. So we always going to make sure when men fall in love and we have children, is nothing that we wouldn't do for them. Okay. So I don't care what this stigma, this rhetoric that you hear about men hate women and men don't take care of their kids. That's not true. All right. Don't let it fool you. Like when a man fall in love, when a man loves a woman, like he goes all in for her. And the reason why a lot of men may be cautious about getting into a relationship now is a man will throw they all into a relationship, and when a man feel played or when a man get hurt, he can turn to a savage, right? Like it's like the saying that when they say like once you turn a good girl bad, like she's gone forever. It's kind of the same way for a man, right? Not that he gone forever. It's just the fact that like a man can hold on to that hurt and then change his whole aura and his whole way that he move as it relates to women. Now, when it comes to kid, he gonna love that kid, right? So men are naturally protector and providers. Like they put their all into things because it is a goal for them, right? Because it's instinctual to make sure that we care for those that are vulnerable, those that are not as strong as us. Let's get into the third one. Men don't like asking for help and will not tell you they are unhappy. Now, I must admit, okay, I have to admit, I do not like asking for help. I don't. I try to figure it out on my own. I'm getting better at that, but it's hard for me to admit that I need help. All right. And a lot of men are around here, whether it's single or in a relationship, they're unhappy, right? It's a certain place that they are not at in their lives that is making them unhappy. So because a lot of time with men, the reason why they are unhappy because they haven't achieved a certain goal, they don't have a purpose, or they haven't established that purpose yet. So men, we have a hard time admitting that we need help. Okay, it just kind of is what it is. But if you are a man that definitely wants to mature and definitely want to run businesses and things of that nature, hey, you're gonna have to admit that you need some help. You're gonna have to admit that it's somebody that do it better than you do. All right. Number four, men are probably more emotional than women. Now, I would say this. I have to admit, I stuck this in there because this is what I believe. I believe that men are emotional than women because of our anger, our jealousy, right? When we get sad, we can kind of men delete themselves more than women, right? So, like, when it comes to certain emotions, we can kind of take that overboard, right? So, it's not that I would say, as far as the frequency of women in their emotions, they get more emotional as far as like times of a day, right? But as far as men, like when we do get emotional, like when we get angry, we can take somebody's life, right? When we get angry, we can punch somebody. When we get angry, like it's things that we can do, punch a hole in the wall. You really don't see that with women. So that's why I say men are more emotional than women because of certain type of emotions like anger and jealousy, like that will lead us to do some very harmful things, whether it's self-inflicted or it's inflicting violence on somebody else. So, that's just my take. All right. So what we on? Number five? Men think about sex a lot. Okay. Now, you will hear like different viewpoints when it comes to whether or not, men and women think about sex the same, whatever. But as a man, I would tell you this. Men think about sex a lot. Okay. So the whole notion, I was just reading the other day that men think about sex every 10 seconds. They kind of like saying that that's not true. Actually, I heard at one point in time it was every 7 seconds. Now, of course, that's I would say that's kind of exaggerated, right? Most men don't think about sex every 10 seconds, but I would say frequently throughout the day, men think about sex. All right. It kind of just is what it is, right? So, you know, ladies, you have to forgive us because if we bring up sex, if we bring up sexual innuendo and things of that nature, or if it seems like we always want to have sex, well, we're testosterone based. All right. There's other hormones that drive us as well, but testosterone is the main one. So, hey, that one is definitely biological. All right. Let's get into the next one. Men do not like to argue with women at all. Okay. Now we feel like it's pointless because sometimes we really feel like that there is no end in sight. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. As I mentioned before, men are problem solving. So if we're talking with a woman and we have an issue, what is the solution that we're getting to? All right. Or are we just going back and forth just to be getting our anger and our emotions out? Men do not like that. Okay. So I would say that I don't like to argue with anybody. Right. But it seems more, I guess, sensible when you argue with a man because a lot of time men logical and rational. We can say, okay, I see your point, but a lot of time we will admit that, okay, maybe we wrong or maybe we took a different viewpoint or maybe your viewpoint is just better than mine. So men will actually admit that. And, a lot of times it's hard for women to admit that they're wrong or say that they're sorry. All right. So let's get into the next one. Men have a high tolerance. They would never give up. All right. So a lot of men are like this. Once again, I'm speaking in general. I really shouldn't have to say that. There are no absolutes, right? So in general, men have a very high tolerance. All right. They want to get the goal accomplished, the task accomplished. So they will keep trying. If it's a business and it seems like it's failing, now, eventually, after they take so many losses, they'll let it go, but they might just rebrand themselves, retool, start it over again, right? Go educate themselves, get with a mentor, right? So those really successful men, they don't give up, all right? And I think that most men don't give up, right? We keep trying and we keep pushing, all right? Let's go to the next one. Men love variety in women. I hate to admit it and I hate to say it. It just kind of is what it is, right? So a lot of cheating happens because men just want variety, all right? A lot of men like skinny women and they like thicker women. They like women short hair and women with long hair. They like Asian women and black women and white women and Puerto Rican women. Variety, right? So in my very first video, I talked about how monogamy is not natural. Okay. Now, yes, you can be in a monogamous relationship. Absolutely. There are people that do it. But we have to count in the fact that some people they succumb to their lust. They succumb to the natural urges that are inside of us that are based on our hormones, that is biological, right? So it kind of is what it is. Of course, we already been trained and socialized into believing that monogamy is the way. All right, we won't get into that, but men love variety. Okay, like it's natural. Sorry to say. Men are purpose driven. They want to have a goal, mission. It is what drives them in life. All right. So I mentioned for those men who don't have a purpose, it is very hard, right? For those men that don't have goals, that don't have a work ethic, that are not work driven, they have a hard time. But I believe most men attach themselves to something and they work very hard in order to achieve that goal, right? So that's just kind of how we hardwire, right? So if we know we're supposed to do a task, we want to do it to our best ability. All right. That's just kind of how we are. Next, men will sacrifice a lot, including their happiness. There are a lot of men that are very unhappy in relationships. Very, right? But in order to keep the family together, in order to stay with his kids, because a lot of men understand if a divorce does happen, his kids are gone. In most cases, that's just what it is. So a lot of time, a man will stay in a relationship being unhappy. He'll sacrifice his happiness. He'll go to work, provide for his woman and his kids, and that's just what he do. Right? You hear a lot of time women saying, "I wasn't happy," and they leave. Okay, so men are kind of opposite, right? We'll be unhappy and we'll stay for a very long time until eventually we've kind of had enough. Men want to be praised too. All right. We like when people say, "Hey, you're doing a good job." We like when they say, "Man, you know what? Thank you for doing this." We love that. We want to be praised too. We want to say, "Hey, happy Father's Day." All right. Thank you for being a great dad. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. We love praise too. All right. And I'm not talking about love language. I'm talking about the fact that a man wants to be appreciated, right? Now, depending on the man, it don't have to happen all the time, but we at least want to know that the people that say they love us can at least show us that they love us, and not just show us, but tell us that they love us. Men do not like physical or mental or emotional pain, right? I know you've heard before that, like when men get sick, they act like a baby. That's why, right? Men, we don't like to be sick. We don't like to get punched in the face. Now, of course, you have that minority of men who are boxers and UFC and stuff like that that kind of enjoy pain. But for the majority, speaking of men in general, we don't like pain like that. All right. So we don't want to be played with, right? We don't want our emotions played with. So it kind of is what it is. Men look at physical beauty for more than just attractiveness. One big thing when it comes to looking at a woman, yes, we want a woman that's attractive, but what we're also looking at is the fact that if a woman is overweight and she's obese, then eventually as she get older, those problems are going to compile up, and now we're going to be looking at going to the doctor all the time. You're going to be on different medicine, and that is going to impact us. So it's bigger than just looking at somebody that is has a nice frame and are attractive. We're looking at the weight more than anything. And the weight is okay, you're going to have complications if you don't get your weight under control. All right. So next, we only got two more left. So let's get into it. Men do not care for long, drawn out conversations. All right. We like to keep it straight to the point. Short. Hey, tell us when, where, why, how. Like, just keep it brief. All right. Like, so a lot of times, and I'm sorry, ladies, when you're in a relationship with your man and you talking, he like, yeah, for real? She didn't. It's not that he's not listening. It's just the fact that he wants to show you that, okay, he wants to be attentive, but like, you got to wrap it up, B. Like, yeah, I mean, come on. Like, so we like straight and to the point. All right. That's why me and we love sports, politics, stuff like that. All right. Tell us what it is. All right. And the last thing that you need to know about men is men are naturally competitive. All right. I would be assuming that most people understood that, but so a lot of times, like we just want to, like, me and my friends, like, bowling is our thing. Like we're so competitive, but like it don't just have to be sports. It can be literally anything. It can be having a conversation. Like we're just trying to best someone, trying to debate them and beat them in a debate. Just with talking, right? So we're just naturally competitive, right? When me and my brother was growing up, we competed almost anything, right? We wanted to be better than the other person. It's just kind of how we are, right? And of course, it has its benefits and its negatives. So, but we're just a naturally competitive species. All right. All right. So that, the the list is, it's fluid, I would say, but that's the top 15 things that I believe that you should know about men, ladies. So hopefully some of that list made sense to you. You can apply it in your relationships with men, whether it's your brother, your father, your significant other. So hopefully it benefits you. All right. So let's get into our closing statement. As I stated that, this making a case episode was a little bit different. I definitely had this kind of topic somewhere in my mix that I thought it would be beneficial, particularly for the ladies, because I do have ladies following the channel. Thank you, ladies. And so I thought it would be beneficial to them to compile a list, because one thing that I think that we are lacking as it relates to men and women is understanding, right? We know that a lot of time women do not have to understand men, because men are the ones doing the chasing. Men are the ones doing the providing and protecting. So women can just sit back, look pretty, and they can collect all the benefits, right? So a lot of times they don't take the necessary steps in order to understand how a man is, what is a man is about, why is he so purpose driven, why he wants to have sex all the time, right? So it's important to understand it. And we could take some of this list and we could flesh them out or flush them out. And please, if you would like for me to do that, please let me know. But it's important for women to at least have a basic understanding of who men are. I believe that men have to understand who women are because we're the one that's doing the chasing and the pursuing, right? So we kind of got to know where women are, what they like, okay? What kind of drives them, you know? We understand that women are emotional. Well, why are they so emotional? What are some things that make them feel better when they are emotional? Do they need the space? So, men kind of got a basic understanding, remember, in general, of kind of how women operate. And I think it would behoove women to have that same basic understanding as it relates to men. All right. So, we're going to end today's episode number 14 of Making the Case, man. Once again, hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate those for subscribing. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment, okay? Let's get our subs up, okay? Once again, the merch is on deck, the books, links will be in the description, all right? So, as always, I'm you, you are me, love always, love eternal. Hey, and the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. We didn't make a case, but I'm going to bang the gavel anyway. All right, hey, deuces.